Good evening and welcome to the channel. Today I am reviewing the 2018 GMC Acadia. So as Doug DeMuro would say, the new GMC Acadia has quite a few quirks and weird things about it. First, let's start off with the fact that it is 700 pounds lighter than the previous model. It's also shorter, narrower, and has less of a wheelbase. Now, what's quirky and weird about the GMC Acadia is it's supposed to be the upper luxury brand versus Chevy. So with the Chevy Traverse, now when you compare them side by side, the Acadia has 70 cubic feet of cargo room, whereas the Traverse has 79. The Traverse is also 350 pounds heavier, although sportier with the RST trim. And the Acadia is shorter, narrower, and has less wheelbase than the Traverse. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Why they would give the sportier trim to the Traverse but make the Acadia lighter, which in turn means it's faster. It doesn't make any sense. The Acadia should have been larger and heavier and had more room since it's a luxury brand, and the Traverse should have been lighter because it's sportier, which would have made it faster. So you got the luxury version that has less room and is faster, and the sporty version which is slower and heavier and rides better. I don't know how that makes any sense, but somehow GM has managed to make it that way. The Acadia is a good SUV overall, in the same category as the Ford Explorer and Dodge Durango, but the new Acadia is down 700 pounds from the previous Acadia, and it has a new powerful 310 horsepower V6. On paper, the Acadia should be faster than the Suburban or the Tahoe, even though it has only 310 horsepower compared to the Suburban's 355 horsepower. It weighs 1,700 pounds less. With that being said, on paper, the Acadia is probably going to be the faster vehicle, but we're going to find out. One of the noticeable facts about the body, although being smaller than its predecessor, is that it's less boxy around the wheels. The old Acadia had more of a square, boxy look around the fenders, and you can see it's a lot more subtle on the new Acadia, although the plastic trim around the fender liners, I'm not really a fan of. I wish they had left this the color of the paint. The black on white normally looks good, but it's just too much plastic. That's one thing I wish they had not done. Even though the Acadia is a three-row SUV, you can see that there's less room back here than the Explorer or the Durango, and significantly less room than the Escalade or the Suburban or even the Tahoe. It's much smaller, and the Traverse has a little bit more room, but not much. You can fold these seats down by pulling the strap right here, and you can also lean them back, so you can recline them from the back. You can also fold them to stow them away, and you'd have plenty of room back here. So in reality, it's a four-seater with lots of room back here, or a six-seater with a tiny bit of cargo space. So not bad. For the size of the vehicle, they made good use of the room they had. There's definitely no space being wasted here. In the back, you will see that the seats are very high quality, not as high quality as the Suburban or the Escalade, but very nice nonetheless. You can pull this handle up right here, which folds the seat forward and slides it, so this way passengers can access the third row. Third row seating is very comfortable. It's a lot better than you'd expect in an SUV this small. Like I said, the seats recline back, so they're nice and comfortable. Not as comfortable as the captain's chairs, which are in the second row. Looking at it from the third row, you can see how much room is in the Acadia. Every passenger has LED lighting, as well as AC and heat vents, which every passenger has LED lighting and vents for the heat and the AC, which is controlled by the passengers in the second row seating on the back of the center console. Back here, there is a USB connector, which is something that was not offered on the Escalade, which I was pretty shocked about. There is this really cool button on the headrest, which makes folding them down easy. You just press the button and down they go. Fold them back up. And the second row seats recline more than the third row. You can see how comfortable that looks right there. They're leaned all the way back. After your passenger gets in the vehicle, putting the seat back is easy. It just slides back into position, lean it back, it clicks and locks into place. You can also fold this headrest down as well. Second row seating is very comfortable here. Love the fact that they have armrests, and sitting in them, they're definitely more comfortable than the third row, and they recline further, which is definitely a good thing. I can lean all the way back. Oh, this is very comfortable. Leaning back like this, I almost don't even want to move. Just want to fall asleep here in the chair. It's really that awesome. Now, this is a luxury vehicle, but it's got a little bit more of a sport, and it's toned down compared to the Escalade or the Suburban. You can see it's got like a black kind of carbon trim, as well as brushed aluminum trim all through the interior. The button to release the cargo is right here. You just press that button or turn the knob. The gas cap you can just press from outside the vehicle. It's got a Bose stereo system, you can see right here. Electronic parking brake, as well as the dimmer for your gauge cluster. Turn signal and headlight controls on the left side. Windshield wipers for the rear and front on the right side. And the shifter in this vehicle is in the center, as well as the selector for snow, off-road, track and performance, as well as regular highway driving. So let's go ahead and fire it up. The only complaint I have is the gauge cluster is a little basic in my opinion. It's really not up to the par of, say, the 15 or 2500 or the Suburban Tahoe or Escalade. It's a little bit of a bland and basic gauge cluster if you ask me. Another complaint I have is the interior lights. They have them all the way to the front on this console, and I don't like that. Usually the lights are placed right about here, and that's where they put the garage door opener, so I find myself doing that quite often. It doesn't make any sense why they put the lights all the way on the front when they could have placed them right here. It would have made more sense for the buttons to be in the center and easily accessible, whereas the fact they put them up at the front, to me, makes no sense. The interior is basically the same setup as every other GM vehicle. You have your phone, projection, OnStar, climate, text settings, audio, and your main settings for the vehicle. The stereo system in the Acadia is very good. You got your temperature display, your time, and of course the hotspot Wi-Fi for the vehicle. All your basic radio controls, tone media, home, back, menu, and power and volume buttons. Basic AC and heat controls, which can be synced. One accessory port and USB connection inside the center console area. 4 ways and traction control off right here. 2 cup holders, as well as being able to select from snow, performance, or just going back to basic driving and dry roads. Steering wheel setup the same as all GM vehicles. You have your cruise control on and off, as well as your reset and your set buttons over here. Voice commands and phone are over here, as well as to browse the menu on the right side of the steering wheel. So the menus are pretty basic. Fuel information, you can see trip meters, speed, transmission fluid, battery voltage, a timer which you can start and stop, fuel economy for the last 50 miles which can be changed to 25 or 100. Moving along through, you get your tire pressure, your oil life. You can go back to the main menu and change the same options you would on a Suburban, a Tahoe, an Escalade. Your just basic options to set up the dash. None of it's digital, so you can change your speed warning. You can set it to be US or metric, which obviously I'm going to leave it on US imperial system, but there's not a whole lot of options here, as it's not a complete digital gauge cluster, it's analog, so there ain't a whole lot to change in here. I'm going to set it back to info, which is where I had it before. Let's go for a ride in the GMC Acadia. Now, I'm going over this really big bump here that I've went over in the other SUVs I've reviewed, and it's not as soft. It's a soft ride, drives great. It's very comfortable, not as comfortable as the Suburban or the Tahoe, although you really wouldn't notice that much of a difference if you weren't really car savvy. The only thing I can't grasp here in this situation is why the Acadia, being the luxury version, weighs 400 pounds less than the Traverse and also has less room. You'd think that they'd want the luxury version to have more room and be heavier and not be as fast. But the simple fact is the Denali Acadia is lighter and has the same horsepower, yet the Traverse has the RST, which is the sport version, which makes no sense. You'd think they'd want this one to be the luxury. It seems like the engineering department at GM forgot which one was for luxury and which one was for sport. To me, it just makes zero sense at all. There's a lot less tech in this vehicle than the Escalade, but that goes without saying, considering the Escalade is 3 times the cost of an Acadia. Like I said, the gauge cluster is pretty basic. The vehicle will enter 4-cylinder mode to give you better gas mileage. I'm averaging combined mileage of about 24 mpgs. You get about 29 in the highway and 21 in the city, as long as you don't have your foot all the way in the throttle. And when you do, the Acadia accelerates beautifully and is very quick. So getting ready, here we go. Burning all 4 tires. Holy crap, it burned every single tire. 60. 7 seconds with a severe burnout. That was insane. I'm gonna have to feather that. I did not expect the Acadia to peel all 4 tires like that. Was not expecting that at all. From an Acadia of all vehicles doing an all-wheel drive burnout. and not needing any wet weather to do it. That is crazy. So it's just about as fast as the Escalade. It's about the same. If you ease your way into the throttle just right, you can beat the Escalade's time by a tenth maybe. So it's about the same 0 to 60 times as you're going to get from an Escalade. And that's because of the fact that it's a lot lighter. But I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this review of the 2018 GMC Acadia. If you're looking for an affordable SUV that's got decent amount of room, comfortable, and also has some sportiness to it, the Acadia is the way to go. Even though the Traverse is the sportier version in RST trim, it's heavier. The Traverse might be faster considering it weighs more, as it might help out with the traction issues that the Acadia has. Don't forget to check out the store, drivewithdemons.com. Get your key tags there, t-shirts, hoodies, like this one, and more. Support the channel, drivewithdemons.com. If you're stopping in for the first time, go ahead and subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, comment below. For all my returning subscribers, you know the deal. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next video, take care and have a great night.